What if I told you that the best family car of 2026 isn't a massive, gas-guzzling hauling machine, but a compact, electric, everyday hero that can somehow fit 7 people? Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are looking at a car that's trying to do it all. The all-new, fully electric 2026 Mercedes-Benz GLB. Now, I know what you're thinking, another electric SUV? But stick with me, because this one promises 800-volt architecture, a frunk bigger than a carry-on bag, and a range that might actually cure your range anxiety. But is it perfect? Absolutely not. There are some design choices here that, well, we need to talk about them. So let's find out if this Mini-GLS is actually worth the premium price tag. Let's start with the face. And this is where things get a bit polarizing. The new GLB has ditched the old grille for this new open-mouthed look. Mercedes calls it sensual purity, but honestly, it looks a bit like it's surprised to see you. It's definitely distinct, featuring a radiator grille with 94 individually animated LED stars. Some of you might love this futuristic vibe. Others might find it a bit too cartoonish. Moving to the side, you see those powerful SUV proportions. It's boxy, upright, and rugged. It's actually grown up, literally. It is now over 186 inches long, which is about 2 inches longer than the previous model, and it stands 73 inches wide. It sits on flushed-mounted alloy wheels, available in sizes up to 20 inches, which really fill out those wheel arches nicely. The ground clearance is decent, giving it that visual off-road character with underride protection. Though let's be real, most of these will live in school drop-off zones, not rock-crawling trails. Around the back, we have a full-width light bar connecting the taillights. It's clean, it's modern, but it's also becoming a bit of a cliche in car design right now. Everyone is doing the light bar. Is it unique? Not really. But does it look expensive? Yes. Okay, hop inside. This is where Mercedes usually flexes, and they haven't held back. The first thing that smacks you in the face is the optional MBUX Superscreen. It's not just one screen, it's a wall of glass. You've got a 10.25-inch driver display, a massive 14-inch central display, and if you pay extra, you get another 14-inch screen just for the passenger. It looks stunning, like a spaceship. However, here's the gripe. Do we really need this much screen? It can be distracting, and fingerprints are going to be a nightmare. On the positive side, Mercedes finally listened to us. They brought back physical controls for the volume and cruise control on the steering wheel. No more finicky touch sensors that you accidentally hit while turning. The seats are fantastic. Longer thigh support in the second row means your passengers won't get fatigue on long trips. And yes, you can get this as a 7-seater. But let's be real about that third row. While Mercedes says you can fit a tennis team in there, unless that tennis team is made up of toddlers, it's tight. It's great for occasional use, but I wouldn't put an adult back there for a road trip unless you really don't like them. Also, while the upper dashboard feels premium, if you feel around the lower door pockets, you will find some hard, scratchy plastics. For a car starting near $58,000, that's a bit disappointing. Tech-wise, this thing is a supercomputer on wheels. It runs on the new MBUX operating system. The voice assistant is now powered by AI, specifically a mix of ChatGPT and Google Gemini. You can have actual multi-turn conversations with it. You can say, "Hey Mercedes, find me a charging station and then a coffee shop nearby." And it understands context. Navigation is based on Google Maps, which is a huge win because, let's face it, car manufacturer navigation systems usually suck. This one includes electric intelligence, meaning it plans your charging stops for you. Around the back, if you have the 5-seater, you get 19 cubic feet of space. Fold the seats down, and it expands to a cavernous 60 cubic feet. If you opt for the 7-seater, you lose a bit of space, dropping to about 17 cubic feet with a third row folded. It's versatile, sure, but if you have all 7 seats up, you're fitting maybe 2 backpacks in there. Under the metal, you have 2 main flavors at launch. First, the GLB 250 Plus. This is the range king. It has a single motor on the rear axle, pushing 268 horsepower. It does 0 to 62 miles per hour in 7.4 seconds. Not a rocket ship, but plenty for daily driving. If you want speed, you go for the GLB 354 MATIC. This adds a front motor for all-wheel drive, bumping power to 349 horsepower and dropping that sprint time to just 5.5 seconds. That is fast for a family box. But the real headline is the charging. This car uses an 800-volt architecture. That means if you find a 320 kilowatt DC fast charger, you can add 161 miles of range in just 10 minutes. That is game-changing. The 250 Plus gets a WLTP range of up to 392 miles. Even if you knock off 20% for real-world highway driving, that is still impressive. Safety is standard Mercedes fare, which is to say excellent, but sometimes intrusive. It comes with the MB.DRIVE system. 8 cameras, 5 radars, and 12 ultrasonic sensors. It has a transparent bonnet feature for off-roading, which shows you exactly what is under your front wheels on the screen. Very cool, even if the biggest obstacle you face is a curb at the mall. All right, the painful part, pricing. The sales launch just started on December 8th, 2025. In the US, we expect the entry-level GLB 250 Plus to start around $58,500. The faster GLB 354 MATIC will likely start closer to $62,000. That is steep. You are paying a serious premium for that badge and the tech. Leases are expected to be available starting around $450 a month, which might be the smarter way to go given how fast EV tech changes. So what's the verdict? The new electric GLB is an undeniable technological marvel. The range is fantastic, the charging speed is future-proof, and the interior wow factor is high. But it's not flawless. The exterior design is going to split opinions. The third row is strictly for kids, and the price pushes it into dangerous territory against larger competitors. But for a versatile, everyday hero that bridges the gap between a minivan's utility and a luxury sedan's comfort, it's hard to beat. I want to know what you think. Is that new front grille a yay or a nay? And would you pay $60,000 for a compact electric SUV? Drop a comment below. I read all of them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.